Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Road to Master. Hope you're all having an amazing day. It's Puzzle Sunday. Well, at least it will be by the time this gets uploaded. I'm filming this the day before, which is perfectly fine. That was a bit tricky off the bat, which is always a great sign. But it is Puzzle Rush Sunday as per usual. We will be trying to get a high score. I always keep forgetting to check what my current high score is, which isn't ideal. But I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around the 48 mark, which isn't bad. So we're on 8 now, 40 more to go. And hopefully we will get there today because the puzzles have been going well. I have been practicing the puzzles specifically. So yeah, hopefully everything will be a-okay. a-okay. Apologies if I'm a bit quiet. It's around 11 o'clock at night at the minute, so I don't want to be too noisy, but we will try our best to be entertaining enough for you guys. So as per usual, I say this every time, these are the very, not basic, but quite simple checkmates in 1, checkmates in 2. So we will sort of speed through these. They have been surprisingly tricky so far. As Smothered Mate is for 1,000 rating is interesting. But yeah, we rush through these, not rush through them, and I'll explain any ones that are relatively tricky. But yeah, what do we do here? We take the queen. That's a sneaky one. That's a real sneaky one. Okay, we can just take this. Actually, no, we can't just take this bishop. In fact, we can just go bishop to a4. So we got no checks or anything here. So we go bishop f4, hit the a4. Sorry, hit the queen with the discovered attack with check. So we actually win the bishop as well, which is quite cheeky. Quite a cheeky move. Okay, so we have straight away queen to h5 check. They can block. At which point knight f7 looks good. Rook takes, queen takes, and we just are up the exchange. Make sure there are no threats with the queen. Luckily, there aren't. And we just do the exchange. There's nothing else we can do there. A bit weird to say they are the lower rated puzzles, and there's no mates for a lot of these, but that's the beauty of puzzles. Sometimes it isn't mate, sometimes it is just to win on material, which is an equally valid way of winning in my opinion. It's tempting to go rook g5 here, but the actual move I believe is to go bishop to e3. King's forced down to h4. At which point bishop to g5 is checkmate because the pawn's defending the rook. So it's a cheeky one that it's quite tempting to throw in the immediate check, but doesn't work. Check here, king up, check there, king up, followed by checkmate. Quite nice. Little combination of the two rooks and the bishop. We are white here. King's on the side, blocked in by the king. I would really like mate here. Doesn't quite work, so we actually have to throw in this this check on d8. Get the king up, followed by a very swift mate on e6. So it's important to see that the bishop's covering the h8 square there. So the rook's about to take this pawn with check. The king is very loosey-goosey at the minute. What can we do? We can actually throw in this very cheeky check here, I believe. King goes back, then what? Bishop g3. Ooh. That's quite cheeky, actually. The rooks can come to f1, which means that it's not actually going to be mate, I don't think. You could win the rook, but then again, white's already up the exchange, so it would just be giving back equal material, and the pawn's difference would win the game. Which is strange. I wonder if king h4 does anything for us. King there takes. It can't work like that. You're just giving up too much material. There's no check that works. I would like to throw in a rook e1 first, and after takes h4, but they do have some checks that are annoying, and we lose control of these two squares. So, I mean, rook takes pawn doesn't work, full stop, which is annoying. Bishop d6, king. I mean, if king h1, then it's just mate. So the king has to go back to g1. At which point, what do you do? I've got it. It's quite cheeky. You actually do the check and you allow them to escape with f2. At which point bishop to g3 is actually just mate. The rook's blocking off all of these, king's blocking off this one, and the bishop delivers checkmate while protecting the rook as well. Quite nice. That's a cheeky one. Really, it's like a twist on a back rank. You know, you're letting the king escape from the back rank just to mate with the bishop, which is really nice. Okay. So what I'm seeing here immediately is the king's cut off with potentially back rank mates. So the problem is our rook actually able to get to this back rank and deliver checkmate? And the answer to that is just yes. It's just yes. White's actually blocked off by their own pawns and our pawns. They could take this pawn, but then they're actually behind our rook, so they can't do anything about that. They need to be in front. And their pawn is actually blocking the way. So there's after we go rook d5, there is nothing white can do apart from a few pity checks, really, which is quite cool. I'm thinking rook e1 straight away. I don't think that works though. The rook can block. Actually, rook takes. No, because knight can take, which is really annoying. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, actually no, the rook can't block because there is checkmate on c2. That's quite cheeky. So, the knight has to move, at which point you do rook takes knight. If the rook takes, you have this mate on c2. And if the king takes, then you actually have this mate on f1, which is really cool because the rook is now in front of the king, so it can't actually come down and block the check. Really quite cool. I like that a lot. 31. So we're heading into the 1650s, 1700s area, which is nice. Getting good progress. And what do we have here? So the king is immediately cut off from here, and it's immediately cut off here. So we deliver one check, the game's over. We can't deliver any checks. Unfortunately, there are no checks apart from this queen e5. So that's the only check we realistically have in this situation. At which point, the king goes up. If the queen blocks, you just take with mate. King goes up. Queen to d6, check. Queen d6, check. And the king has two options. It can either go back or go to c8. If it goes to c8, you have bishop to f5. The problem then is that they have things that can block. That's the big problem. They have multiple things that can block. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. So, what's the plan, Stan? Check there. Oh, you throw in the check first. And that's just simply mate. That is just simply mate. Rather than hunting down with the king, you just take the mate, I guess. Probably the smarter thing to do, really. Cool. So, we have bishops hanging. We have potential pawn pushes. We don't have any checks, which is cool. So if we go down the list, checks, captures, threats. We know we have no checks. Captures. And the only capture we have right now, well, I guess you have two captures, technically. But you're never going to do that in a million years. So the only capture we have is bishop takes. So does that do anything for us? Bishop takes, queen takes. We still have no checks. We have a pawn push. Actually, pawn push takes. Yeah, so the pawn push idea is really cool because you get these two tempos on the bishop and the queen. So you're actually trying to block off the queen from the defense of this bishop, which is a really cool idea. The problem is they can always just take this bishop once you push the pawn. So you have to make sure that we're still creating threats afterwards. Which is harder than it sounds. A lot harder than it sounds, because bishop takes. And then what? You take the bishop, you just trade. They even have bishop takes b2 check, which looks quite scary indeed. So... Ooh, yeah, but then the bishops... Oh, that would be so nice. What about queen to c4 is a really interesting idea. And it's a fork, basically, that's the idea. But the key difference is if they decide to now take this bishop, you take their bishop with check. And then queen blocks, queen takes, king takes, you take their bishop at the end. So you just up a piece, which I believe is just the idea. That's an interesting move I didn't see. We just take the bishop. We just take the bishop and trade off. Perfect. So we didn't quite calculate that to the end, but we knew that it was completely winning. So it's forgivable. Here is just bishop to e7. A wall of pawns. Complete wall of pawns. The king's blocking it off. Just left this diagonal on the check, which is perfect. Just double check that before we did it. What have we got here? So the rook is blocking off all of this. The knight's blocking off that. This gives a check to that, which actually will take control of this file away from the rook. So if we go to d3 with check, firstly it's important to note the king can't go to d1 because this knight's covering d1 and e2. Secondly, the rook's covering d2. Thirdly, the knight's covering these two. So the rook is the king's forced to go to f1. So if the king goes to f1, what are the new squares that are covered? It's all of these. So we swiftly go rook to b1. The queen can block, but because the knight's covering this, the rook takes the queen is just checkmate. Nice little puzzle. Coordinated knights. Love to see it. 35. We're doing very well. Doing very well. For now. For now, isn't it? Is a key point, I believe. So, checks, captures, threats once again. Bishop take, rook takes. I don't think does anything. Rook takes is just fine. We have a queen check. Queen check is doing nothing as well. Bishop takes is not check, so we're not going to look at that just yet. So none of our checks particularly work. So now we can look at takes. Bishop takes, rook takes doesn't particularly do anything for us. What about rook takes, queen takes? Is interesting. There is now potential of pushing the pawn. However, you know, it's not ideal at all. It's not really ideal. The queen is still covering the promotion square, so we're going to have a hard time. A hard time, really. Actually, queen takes, queen f5. Queen f5, but then, so rook takes, queen f5. If I can draw an arrow. queen f5. Queen can just take pawn, which is interesting. So I'm wondering, actually, is queen f5 straight away the thing to do? Rook takes... Actually, rook takes pawn is the greater idea, I believe. If I can drop... Oh, we'll reset that. Rook takes pawn. And the... Actually, no, because then you've got the threat of queen takes f2, which is super, super nice. And that, I believe, is got to be mating with queen takes and then like some f5 idea. So they can't do that. If they take, you just take their queen, threatening the rooks. So they have to just let you take and you trade off, then push the pawn. So I'm quite happy with queen f5 here, and we just take the queen. That's an interesting variation, but it's not. We just go back with check. And we're all happy. Quite interesting, though. Again, a lot happening here. Let's take a minute. This pawn's under attack. This knight's guarded by the pawn, but he's under attack as well, but also attacking. We have checks. This rook's a bit weak. Could potentially be hit. Could potentially be hit multiple ways. We could take this bishop. Lots of stuff to think about. So, checks captures threats. Let's simplify it. Bishop takes h7 is our only check, I believe. And the king can't take it. It's backed up by the queen. The king can't take it. So, this square's blocked, this square's blocked, this square's blocked. What are the other choices? The king can go to either of these two squares. At which point, knight g5 works. If it goes to h8, that's just mate. So it has to go now to f8, at which point it's a fork. Is there anything better than the fork? I don't think there is, personally. Simply because the knight's in the way of any other stuff. But we just win a free rook. In fact, we just get... this is an interesting one. It's easy to take the rook on a whim here. Because we didn't calculate that the king takes. It's not mate, but we still get the fork off. But actually, we get a better fork here. Because the discovery is with check, we can take this bishop instead of the free rook. The king has to move, or they could block, I guess. And then we actually take the queen afterwards because it is check. So it's easy to autopilot and take the rook there. But let's slow it down just a little bit. Again, a lot happening here. Like, so much happening here. This is hanging. This is under attack. We have a check, I guess, if you want to call that a check. Why can't we just take this queen? Why can't we just take this queen? I'm guessing the threat is check. And the idea was bishop there first. And this pawn is pinned to the king, to the rook. So we can't take. But if we just take the queen first, we can just take this. And we're just up a piece. Actually, no, we're not up a piece. It would be a trade after pawn takes. No, but if you actually calculate it out, and go check, pawn takes, rook takes, bishop drops back. We are just up a piece. I don't think there's any other ideas. We could also take the bishop. Is interesting. However, move order-wise, it's not as nice. So we just call the bluff and take this queen. And they did exactly that. And then we just move the bishop back to block the check. Perfect. We've had something similar to this before. And we needed to make sure we got the right move order. In order to cover the escape on h6. So the idea is just queen takes. Not queen takes. Queen to e8 check. And how is the king escaping here? The problem is, if you take with the queen, you have to go queen f8. The idea is queen f8 check. The problem is, once the queen's on the 8th rank, you can't take this pawn to get the mate on the king when it goes to h5. Because if something takes this, you're protecting the pawn and it's actually going to be mate. So, when the king goes back, it's important not to take with the queen. You have to take with the rook. It gives the same results. Then you can check with the queen, and now you can see you still have something on the 7th file to give the devastating check. And it doesn't matter if it's with a rook or a queen. This pawn's cutting off the escape square, so it's just going to be checkmate. And we've made that mistake before. And to be honest, I'm really proud that I remembered that and I realised what that meant. So I'm super happy with that, to be honest. Not to toot my own horn or anything. But yeah, I'm proud of that one. 39. No mistakes so far. Could this be the record breaker? Who knows? Okay, so very, very scary stuff happening over here. Extremely scary stuff. We have 2 checks. Those are our options. That's about it. So, we go there. We are forcing off the queens. Which can only really be a good thing. We are up the exchange and we're up a ton of pawns as well. And there is no real way to avoid trading off the queens. So queen takes, rook takes, rook check there. Or maybe even, actually, if I can draw an arrow, rook h3 is super interesting. However, I don't think it does anything. Is there anything else to it? What about queen c5? Queen c5, we're not actually threatening anything. There's no corner check or anything. We can't get to there. So what's the threat? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. I don't see why queen d4 is a bad move. We are taking the queen no matter what. Bishop takes doesn't do anything. There is no infinite checks. If the king goes back, we just take the queen, right? And then we could even think about potentially taking this bishop. I don't see why queen d4 is a bad move. It doesn't feel puzzly though, which is kind of scary. It doesn't feel particularly puzzly. But I also know sometimes they don't feel puzzly. We had an example, I think it was last week actually, where you just sort of give it trades, you give checks and trade off. So let's go for it. Let's go for it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Only moves. Only moves. Perfect. Sometimes it's easy as that. This is just checkmate, I believe. You check on f7. King's forced back. Just mate. Easy as. 41. Whoo! Doing good. Doing good. So, the king's backed off. Not backed off, blocked off a bit on g7. We can take this pawn. We can take this pawn. Does that do anything for us? Not quite sure. This bishop's really annoying covering this square. So if we take, the king's actually forced to there. We're covering all of these. It's forced to g8. At which point, bishop, queen g4. Queen g4? Queen g4, queen blocks. I would love it if this bishop wasn't there. Queen g4, queen blocks. So, is there anything else we can do? What about knight check? King goes across, let's say. Then we don't really have anything. So just queen back. I mean, if king goes back, then we have mate. So the king has to keep going across or block. Let's have a look at going across first. There, king there. Then you go there. Win the exchange. Oh, this is a tricky one. I like it. Check. There. Win the exchange. Then push the pawn. That looks really good. So I'm happy with that. Queen blocks is the other one. The other one we have to calculate. Because the knight's under attack as well. So what about check? Does that do anything for us? King goes up. Queen takes. Pawn takes. Knight goes back, I guess. Queen blocks is my problem. That is my problem. Yeah. Queen blocks. We could just take. Pawn takes, knight e3. Wins as a pawn. Doesn't seem puzzly. Doesn't seem puzzly. That phrase is going to be the death of me. Really is. Let's go for it. Yeah. No. Yeah. There was something else there. That I wasn't seeing that. I don't think I wasn't seeing that. The immediate check is bishop takes f2. This is giving Legal's mate sort of feelings. The problem is A, they have this escape square, and B, knight takes is an issue. We do have this sneaky bishop check, though. We do have this sneaky bishop check. So, king up, bishop check. There, boom, 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 bop. Easy as. It's very tempting to do the knight check, but it doesn't work. Perfect. 42, one mistake. You know, not the worst in the world. Not the worst in the world. Okay. The very tempting check is queen e3. And actually, that's just winning. We win the rook. Queen up. Is it as winning as it looks, actually? Is it as winning as it looks? Huh. Can we take king f3? King f3. King f3. It's important to note that in the minute we are down the exchange. So going up the exchange doesn't seem puzzly. Oh, I keep saying it. So, how about this? But then again, we're just going up the exchange. There's no more checks after the queen blocks. There is no other fancy stuff we can do. So maybe it is knight e3. Maybe it is knight e3. They have no checks either, which is a good thing. We take the knight. Queen goes up. We take the knight. We take the rook. We even potentially have check. Let's go for it. No, that was wrong. One life left. We're at 42, which is like our minimum. You know, it's our minimum. They get super hard, though, super quick. I think just bishop e6 check here is the way to go. King is forced back. Trickier than it looks. The knight's covering g8. But then just bishop there is mate. Nice, nice. 43, 43. Okay, so no checks, no checks. The immediate thought is bishop to g5, hitting the queen with the discovered attack on the bishop. Is there anything else they can do? There are a few things. Knight to either of the sides. If they go here, we just take. If they go there, we can actually just... Ooh, we can't do a pawn push, actually. We just take the queen. Yeah, we just take the queen. So what about something like f6? Knight takes. Knight takes looks good. Oh, this is interesting. I like this one. I like this one. Bishop to g5. I mean, that's got to be it, right? Maybe you just take and you go up a pawn. You know what I'm going to say? It's not very puzzly. It's got to be bishop g5. There's nothing else it can really be. I don't think knight there does anything for us. Queen takes. And now we don't have this discovered attack. There's no knight move that's really taking my fancy. Yeah. Oh, and they've made it easy for us. They've made it easy for us. Perfect. 44. Still one life left. White to move. Oh, this isn't nice. This isn't nice. Firstly, we're in check. We're in check. And we have to make a choice. Up or down. Up or down. Wow, this is crazy. If we go up, we're getting stolen. If we go back, we can block. That's the only blocking move we have. If not, they're getting more and more checks. There. Then what? Do we have any mating threats? I think we just have to... No. Wow. I don't know. I don't know. 44 is not bad. Not bad at all. That's our 12th best of all time. Not bad. Let's have a quick gander at these. This one, I genuinely don't know what the idea is. Maybe something like that? No. Knight check? No. Rook lift? Oh, it's a rook lift. That's stinky. That's not a puzzle. Talk about non-puzzle moves, you know. A rook lift. Yikes. I mean, I get it. I get it completely. But, oh, wow. So if you don't see, the idea is after the check, it's mate. It's mate. It's like a back rank mate. And if the queen blocks or anything, then the rook's coming in, or the rook can take the queen on g8. So that's the idea there. That's... This one, zero idea. Surely not. You want us to do that? Oh, I saw it as well. But that's stupid. That's so stupid. I could have got that easy. If I literally said that was the first thing I saw, but I didn't see takes the pawn at the end. Forgive me, it's 11 o'clock at night. It's 11. This one's weird. This one's super weird. I don't get why H3 isn't the answer with the block on G3. Apparently. Apparently. Because you... No clue. We're going to have to do a deeper analysis on this. Knight takes d5. Rook h8. Because what I first noticed when I see the rooks like this is I'm seeing there's no mate or anything. The rooks, the problem with rooks is that they don't do the diagonals like the queen does. So they can't stop the king actually coming in when they're on things. They need to be staggered. They need to be on different rows, different files, different ranks. So that's what I was immediately seeing. So I'm guessing the whole idea with king g5 is that you're keeping your king on close by in order to facilitate like a g6 check or something. The other idea is to stop the king coming across on the f file as well. So knight takes d5 is a weird move. I don't get why they can't check. King g6, you go up even more. Why can't you just d takes e check? Oh, because the pawn's stopping further checks. Oh, that's so stupid. And then the background is coming and it's unstoppable. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give them that. I'll give them that. That was me being stupid again, once more. King g5, yeah. I get it. I understand. So knight takes. Knight takes, knight takes. At which point, rook h8. If the... Oh, so that's mate. If the king goes up. So the king has to go to the side. Rook 6, h7. Yeah, and the king's forced there. At which point, rook to e8, check. And the king loses control of the rook. So it's actually the rook to e4 which is the blunder here, just because it's on this file, which is somehow connected to the king, which is mind-blowing. Anyway, 44 isn't bad. I'll take 44. We're slowly getting up there. And one day, we will break the record. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. And I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.